Greetings! Happy Wednesday and welcome back to the Osha Cerese Show. I am your host, Osha Cerese, and this is the show where culture meets coaching, where healing meets headlines, and where we utilize alchemy to transmute gossip into growth. I'm a certified life coach, dream doula, and event curator, and I love to take what's trending in the news and pull out the lessons for us to take with us and apply to our lives. So again, I am Osha Cerese. This is the Osha Cerese Show. If you are on Instagram watching, make sure you come on over to YouTube and make sure you subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube and you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that now. Subscribe and turn on your notifications because right now this is a pop-up show. You never know when I'm going to go live, but I love to see you all live when I'm here. So make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications. And while you're there, comment, like, share, do all the great things. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been quite a day for me. I've been doing a lot of yapping. I'll let y'all know why. So we'll see how long this show lasts because I've been talking all afternoon. For real. All evening. Again, we are celebrating health and wellness this month as well. I told y'all I was on that raw, vegan, and juicing up until about the 17th, the 16th, 17th. So I just started incorporating hot food again. I'm trying to make sure that I'm only eating, the healthiest foods and processed foods in moderation because as a vegan, it can be easy to just get some processed foods or something quick to go in the air fryer or the oven when you don't feel like cooking from scratch. So wish me luck. I've been doing pretty well. I'm trying to keep the carbs in moderation. I've been eating a few carbs this week, but anything in moderation is all right. I haven't juiced this week, but I got some juice. This is the drink of the night. Some good old OJ. I'm not an orange juice fan, actually, unless it's cold pressed or hand squeezed, which I have been juicing, so making my own orange juices. So this doesn't compare to that. But this is 100% orange juice by a brand. We ain't shouting them out because we ain't sponsored. But, this is what's available right now. I didn't juice, so cheers to great health, happiness, love, success, and abundance. Cheers. It just don't hit the same as fresh squeeze, but I'm grateful. Whatever. We gonna work with it. So what I was saying, maybe some of y'all noticed that I was actually live earlier. Before I went live, I had a meeting at like 6 p.m. And then I really was supposed to be in a group coaching call for my mom's group, Zest for Life, from 7 to 8. But I was trying to get ready for what I had to do at 8, and I had to be online or in the call to do sound check by 7:40. So I wasn't able to make it to the group coaching call. So my apologies to my mother, Sweet Tea. I will be on the next call. If you all are women over 35 who are looking to rediscover your zest for life, if you're a CEO, a mother, a empty nester that's used to pouring into other people and you neglect to pour into yourself, or you have some dreams or goals that you've put on the back burner to focus on those things, you need to be in my mother's program, the Zest for Life social club and support group, and sign up for the wait list for Her Lady Academy at sweet-inspirations.com. That's sweet-inspirations, plural.com. Let me just give her that plug. And then, so 7:40, I got on sound check or whatever. 8 o'clock, I was a part of a panel of coaches, relationship experts, coaches, and I'm a life coach. So I don't like to coin myself as a relationship coach, although relationship coaching and healing and intentional dating is a part of what I offer as a life coach. So I was a part of this panel. It was really a great conversation. It was hosted by Kelvin. Let me get his full name so I won't butcher it. Kelvin Troy Johnson. He has a large platform over on TT. We won't shout it out because we don't want to get, we don't want to get banned or anything, silenced or suppressed. but he has a big platform on a couple of different social media apps. And he invited myself as well as, I want to say, one, two, three, four, maybe four or five other coaches, and then another lady joined us as well. You're welcome, sweet tea. So that was a great conversation. We actually talked about, before I get into that, please forgive me. Happy Black History Month. Let's talk about the Black History Spotlight. We celebrate Black History all month, and then I'll let y'all know about what we talked about on the Love Coach Sessions live. So today's Black History Spotlight, we are honoring Dr. Betty Shabazz. She is an educator, activist, and the widow of Malcolm X, and her life was a testament to resilience, education, and the power of transformation. She was born Betty Dean Sanders on May 28, 1934, in Pinehurst, Georgia. She was raised in Detroit, Michigan. Growing up in a racially tense environment, she left the South and attended Tuskegee Institution in Alabama, but the racism she experienced there led her to transfer to Brooklyn State College School of Nursing. While in New York, Betty was introduced to the Nation of Islam and soon met Malcolm X. The two married in 1958, and they had not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but six daughters. After his tragic assassination in 1965, Betty faced immense challenges as a single mother, but pursued higher education, earning a doctorate in education administration from the University of Massachusetts. I know I'm not saying that state right. Massachusetts, Amherst. She became a professor and worked at Medgar Evers College, focusing on social justice and community leadership. Dr. Shabazz tragically passed in 1997 from injuries sustained in a fire set by her grandson. Despite the tragedy, her legacy lives on through her work in education and civil rights. And of course, we can't talk about Betty without mentioning Malcolm X, one of the most profound leaders in Black history. He was born Malcolm Little in 1925, and he transformed from a troubled youth into a powerful advocate for Black liberation. After leaving the Nation of Islam and making his pilgrimage to Mecca, his views shifted towards universal human rights, and his assassination in 1965 was a devastating loss, but his teachings continued to shape movements for racial justice. And I will probably highlight Malcolm X again this month and give a little bit more detail of his accomplishments. But I today was highlighting Dr. Betty Shabazz, and of course I wanted to sprinkle a little bit in about her husband. So again, tonight, if you caught it earlier, I don't know that if you did, but I was on a panel. It was called Finding Love, or it was called Love Coach Sessions Live. It's a Love Month series hosted by Kelvin Troy Johnson. And the topic was the secrets to emotional intimacy and lasting love. So we talked about how to create deep emotional intimacy, not just physical attraction, how men and women experience love differently, communicating mistakes communication mistakes that ruin relationships, and how to fix them. And we also discussed how to identify and stop self-sabotaging behaviors in love and in life. But we talked about stopping self-sabotaging behaviors in love. And we talked about the number one predictor of long-term relationship success. So some of the things that came up, one of the earlier points that were made in the show was about communicating and like emotional intelligence, and how men are raised to be tough and hard and masculine and don't cry, don't show emotion, don't what we teach young men. And then the man on the panel was basically saying how we're taught all these things all of our lives, and then we get with a woman who wants us to communicate and be expressive. But then the moment that we do start being communicative and expressive and sensitive, it's thrown in our faces as far as us being too sensitive, or, you know how it goes. So I do understand that. That is a battle for men. That's like a line that they have to straddle as far as being able to be transparent and vulnerable with their woman and feeling safe enough to do it. So one of the points that I made is a part of emotional intelligence is also self-regulation. So I do want my man personally, let me just speak for me. I as a coach and as a woman in these dating streets, I hear the people talking, and not every woman has has been equipped or knows how to or wants to hold space for their man. But me personally, I'm a hold space for you. I'm a hold space for you. I'm gonna listen to you. I am your safe place, your safe landing, your peace, and all of that. But at the same time, I don't want to feel like I'm being dumped on, like trauma dumping. I don't want to feel like um, I am your only place of solace or you're looking for me to heal you and you're not doing anything. You don't have any solutions. You're not looking to support yourself on your own healing journey. You don't have anybody else that you can lean on, and I'm just the only person that has to hold you up all the time. That can be a lot of pressure for a spouse. So I think that there has to be a balance with both men and women when we are in our relationships and emotions happen. Like I can be sensitive as well. I can be emotional. I need my man to hold space for me too. But I believe in therapy. I believe in having a coach to help with certain things like balance and organizing and mindset and encouraging and accountability as well. I believe in the friendships that I have nurtured and community and sisterhood and platonic male friends as well. My best friend is a man. Some of my closest friends are men, and I lean on them as well as far as like, perspective and support because I grew up with boy cousins. So it's not, to me, it's no big deal to have platonic relationships with men. Some people don't feel like men and women can be friends. I beg to differ. Um, Platonic friendships, again, family members, leaning on. I got parents. I have a mama that I could talk to. I have my father that I could talk to if I want to. Thank you, Lord, for them. Cousins. I have siblings. My father has a son and a daughter, so I did grow up as the only child, but I do have siblings. I got cousins. I got aunts. I got uncles. I have people that I trust. I have community. I have a lot of different places where I can also lean on in my time of need so that when I am in a relationship, it's not that I have to just, here's the weight of the world. I'm taking it off of myself and I'm throwing it onto you and I want you to handle everything. Although, of course, it's great to have a partner that's willing to hold space for you and be your everything, even though I don't agree with that. It's great to have somebody that's willing to rock out with you through thick and thin and ups and downs and all of that. You do need that. But take the pressure off a little bit and find ways and modalities and tools to self heal, to outsource, and to lean on your community and your village as well. So I think that that is when it comes to emotional regulation as well, not just leaning on other people, but being able to express and share and communicate without it getting out of control. And that's where the emotional regulation comes in at as well. So not just what you're saying and what you're sharing, but how are you sharing it? Are you crying uncontrollably and unconsolably every day? Is that something that you want your partner to have to work with you through all the time? Are you yelling and raising your voice and going into rages and throwing things and punching walls and cutting up and cussing them out and taking your anger out? Like there's different levels to this, and it can become toxic when the communication is not effective communication or when it's not when you're not able to regulate your own emotions. So I think that is also important when it comes to balancing, you know, allowing somebody to hold space for you and also being able to handle some of that weight as well. What do y'all think? Those of you who are listening or watching live, or if you're watching the playback, share what you feel about being your partner's person to be able to help them through their traumas, their sad times, their their everything, anything that they're going through. Do you feel like you want your partner to keep it in the house, keep it in y'all's relationship, or do you feel as though you can lean on other people within your village? Been talking. Certified yapper right here, babe. Let me see some of the other things that came up. What else did we talk about? Let me look at these topics so refresh my memory. Of course, we talked about different types of intimacy, and love languages came up as well. Um, One of the things that came up, that's the man or the two men that were on the panel kind of talked about men not feeling like they matter. And I've talked about this several times on my platform. I did a whole series on intimacy about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I talked about how most of the men that come to me with complaints about their marriage or their relationships, or the women in their lives, they talk about not feeling appreciated. And that's really unfortunate, to not feel appreciated or not feel like you matter, because whatever reason, whether you're being overlooked or you're being ignored or you're not being valued, you're not being seen, people don't recognize what all you do. They're too busy doing what they got to do to even take the time to acknowledge you, or they only reach out to you when you're beneficial to them. It is unfortunate. And so they talked about that. And I was also bringing up the fact of how important it is to know your partner's love language, because sometimes your partner thinks that they're showing you appreciation by whatever it is that they're doing, but you're not receiving it, because that's not how you receive love and appreciation. If you're the type that words of affirmation is priority to you, and your partner is not good with expressing themselves verbally, or they don't acknowledge you with words, but they're there to support you, they show up to everything that you have, they they share whatever you got going on, they're there for whatever, however other ways besides telling you, or maybe they gift you or celebrate you with a party, they throw a party for you or whatever, and all the while all you want them to say is, wow, you did an amazing job. I'm proud of you. I see what you've done. I see what you're doing. So sometimes it's not that you're not appreciating them, it's just that you're not showing them in a way that they receive it. So that's important too. Sweet Tea says she can hold space for her man. What does holding space for your man look like? And do you have any boundaries set for holding space? Can they come to you with every emotion and every way? If they need to talk for a certain amount of time and you might have something else you got to do, are you putting that on the back burner so you could be there to listen? How far does it go when it comes to holding space for your man? But again, those love languages are very important for both partners. Like, people feeling unappreciated is a lot of times, let me see, recently someone told me that they feel unappreciated by their partner because, for one, their love languages are words of affirmation and physical touch. Their partners their partner doesn't speak to them in the ways that they need to be spoken to, and their partner is not affectionate at all. They want to cuddle, they want to hold hands, they want to lay up under each other or lay up under their partner. They want to, grab and touch and rub and get massages and all of that, and their partner is not affectionate. And I'm not sure if that particular person that I'm referring to has communicated their needs, but that's a start, to communicate your needs. And that was another thing that the men said on the panel, is that sometimes men are just taught to just deal with it. So instead of them communicating that I need this, I need the words of encouragement, I need the affirmation, I need you to show me that you recognize it, but recognize what I'm doing by telling me, or I want to be celebrated. I've never, had anybody celebrate me or throw me a party or whatever. I need that. Or I really would have just loved a nice massage at the end of the day. Massage my shoulders because I've been working hard all day. Whatever it is that you need, you have to be comfortable enough to communicate that. And I understand that some relationships might not always have that safe space or safe place to be able to communicate your needs. But again, you have to kind of, like I said on the panel, you got to put your big girl panties on, your big boy drawers. You got to have some maturity and just communicate your needs instead of doing passive aggressive things like silent treatment, cold shoulder, um, slamming cabinets, not turning your back at night, putting your head under the blanket, going out doing something drastic like cheating or making them think you're cheating to get some type of rise or reaction instead of just communicating. Sweet Tea says, Sweet Tea Inspirations on Instagram. Yes, I am open to listen to their needs. I am better at setting boundaries on how much I listen to when it becomes repetitive. And I think that that's really important too. Like, um, it's okay to be the go-to person or whatever and hold space, but you do have to set boundaries because some people don't have any limits. And if you don't set the boundaries, they just gonna keep rolling with it. So if you there to listen and they've been talking about the same thing for 100 years and you there listening to it the whole time and nothing has changed, there's no solutions, there's no um nothing has come about even talking about it, they still feel bitter, they still feel the same way. At some point it's like, why do we continue to talk about this? So either let's talk about some solutions, whether it's us brainstorming on this call. If you don't want to do that with me, maybe you can seek therapy or somebody that can support you on doing that or unpacking the way you feel about it. Or maybe we can just talk about something else. Take your mind off of the same thing that we've been talking about. So you have to know what your boundaries are, even when you are a safe place for somebody. It's very important for you to have those in place. Let me see what else we talked about that can come to mind. We did talk about some of the self-sabotaging things that people do in relationships. So someone said lack of trust. I'm trying to think what else was said. I remember somebody saying that having failed expectations, like not hearing what somebody is telling you. In the beginning, say you meet somebody and they tell you they're not looking for anything more than a smash buddy. And you say, okay, knowing damn well you don't want to just be a smash buddy with somebody, but you go along with it. And then when you start catching feelings, this person might be doing everything that a relationship entails. You might see them often, y'all might even go on dates, you might be spending the night at their house, you're engaging in sexual activity, you might even be kissing. You might have even met some of their friends and family members, but they've never put a title on it. They've never asked for a commitment. You've never agreed on anything other than what you all have. Then, say you run into them and they're with somebody else, or you foolishly go through their phone or something and you see that they've been talking to somebody else, or you see them under somebody's comments on social media or whatever. Now you mad. Now you're confronting them, going off, feeling disrespected, feeling unappreciated. They looking at you like, I told you I ain't want nothing more than friendship. Like, what's all this about? And so that's how a lot of people do a disservice to themselves, not listening to what somebody is directly telling you. And I just reviewed Harlem, the series Harlem on Prime Video. I got to post the last 3 videos, but on episode 5 of season 3, spoiler alert, if you haven't already seen the series and plan to watch it, there is a character, and I talked about this actually a couple of episodes ago of the Osha Cerese show, about the fact that this particular character played by Kofi is ethically non-monogamous. So when he meets his woman, who was Quinn, played by Grace Byers on the show, she has gone through this journey where she really wants a relationship. She's been a lover girl throughout the whole series. She wants love, she wants relationship, she wants a family. She really desires this. She's been putting forth effort, and every time she gets with somebody, it just doesn't work out. Eventually, she ends up even exploring a lesbian relationship. She becomes a queer, becomes queer and goes through all of this. And then she finally runs into somebody that she was with back in college, I think. And it was seemingly right on time, the perfect situation. But then she realized that she didn't really love herself. So she felt like she needed to go on a journey of healing, self love, and self discovery, like you might need to do. And you need to go to my website, oshacerese.com, and either get you a guided journal, How to Be Single, enroll in one single step at a time, or any of my other courses, or book a discovery call for sessions. She didn't have access to me because she's a character on Harlem. But anyway, she wanted to go on her journey. And so she took some time. But during this journey, the show ended up getting canceled. So we only get 3 seasons. So this third season was like rushed. So we don't really get to see a lot of her healing journey. All we know is she went on it. And now she's flourishing in business, in life, and she's feeling good. She's not really on that relationship tip right now, even though that's her heart's desire. And she meets somebody, and he's fine. Again, played by Kofi. They vibe. They have chemistry or whatever. And he lets her know then that he was um, non-monogamous. She's the one that set the tone by saying, I'm not looking for anything serious. I don't think he told her he was non-monogamous at first. She told him, let's keep it light. I'm not looking for nothing serious. Let's just have fun. He said, cool, that works for me because I'm non-monogamous. Bet. They start dealing with each other. She was actually he was a baseball player, professional baseball player. So she styled him a couple times because she's a designer and a seamstress. Has her own boutique. Ends up styling him because his stylist didn't show up or whatever. They go viral. Some she ends up being his stylist, but then his old stylist creates beef. Anyway, that part don't matter. She ends up deciding to let him go as a client, but they're still dealing with each other. So there is an opportunity for them to have, or for him to have, a shoot in Ebony magazine, and the theme is Black love. So he's asking her, like, if you were still my stylist or whatever, like, what kind of shoot would you have for this Ebony shoot? So she just stands up and she's all in her visualization bag, and she's talking about it will be this Black love theme, old Harlem Renaissance type vibe. Um, Black love is not just the romantic love, which we do know there's a Black Love Day, February 13th, that I celebrated this year and shared on episode 2, the details of that. But she was talking about pretty much what Black Love Day represents. Like, it's not just about romantic love, it's about Black love of the Black family, Black people, the community, all of that. So she has this vision. He's got her on speakerphone, not unknowing to her. Um, the creative director, or the director of the shoot is listening. So they're like, okay, bet, we got it. So he's like, she thought he was going to ask her to be the creative director. He's like, no, I want you to be in it. So they do this shoot together for Ebony, the spread. It's exactly how she envisioned it. They even had 2 little kids be their children in the shoot, a boy and a girl. They're taking all these pictures. It's all beautiful. They're kissing. They have the family. They're in the penthouse. They're at the dinner table. They're in their suit and dresses and all of that. And so this is allowing her to tap into that heart's desire that she's always had, that never left. And she's thinking like, wow, I can see this. Like, this is my vision come to life. And he basically expresses that he feels the same way because he overhears her telling her friend about how she felt during this shoot. And he walks in, overhears her, and he's like, I feel the same way. And he wants that with her too. So he ends up telling her this, and she's like, oh yes, I'm so excited, like I finally got my man, I got my person. They tell each other they love each other, and they fall asleep. In the middle of the night, his phone rings. And he gets on the phone, and she hears him saying, babe, and I think her name was Stephanie. I'll be there soon. I'm with Quinn right now. You know, I love you. Get off the phone. So she overhears him, and she like, as soon as I told this fool I love him and all this perfect life I've envisioned, now he on this type time. So she confronts him about it, and she's like, who's Stephanie? He said, Stephanie is my partner. And she's mind blown. Meanwhile, this man already told her he was non-monogamous. You told him that you just wanted to keep it light and have fun. So then when he tells her this, reminds her of this, she's like, but that was 5 months ago. Girl, it wouldn't matter if it was 5 years ago. If he said what he said, then it is what it is. So y'all got to watch to see what she ends up deciding. But I just said all that to say, believe people when they tell you what it is. And if you want a commitment and you want a relationship, you want the title, the commitment, the agreement, you have to be upfront and communicate that and be on one accord, and stop acting surprised when stuff go left when you ain't even talked about it. So that was that. We talked about some other things like somebody, so she said failed expectations and gave that example of people not listening to what is being told to them. And I said sometimes the self-sabotage in relationship can be met expectations, because there are some people who have prayed and manifested and journaled, and just they know exactly what they want in their partner. And then all of a sudden, that partner shows up in real life. It is a real physical manifestation of all of your prayers, and all of the things that you visualized, and all of the things that you've spoken into existence is now in physical form right in front of you. And then people get scared because it could be because of childhood trauma, and it could be a trauma response to maybe abandonment, or it could be a self-worth problem where they feel unworthy or undeserving of having exactly what they desire. It could be a fear of things working out and just not knowing how to handle that. And so with that self-sabotage comes looking for something, looking for a reason. It comes distrust, not trusting your partner, looking for problems, maybe going through their phone, assuming that they're lying, just all type of other forms of sabotage. So if you're dealing with those type of fears, again, you have to tap back into your healing as well. Like, what is the root cause of this trauma response? I have this person in my life that I literally manifested. They do meet all my expectations, and now fear is coming up, doubt is coming up, sense of unworthiness is coming up, lack of trust, need for control. Where does that come from? And then once you've identified that, you can kind of start working on it from there. Get you a coach to support you if you're not able to unpack that on your own, because a lot of people are sabotaging great relationships because they just don't have the tools or the methods to break down these barriers that they've built. And of course, being single for a long time, when you get in a relationship, you're faced with all of the things that you may have thought you're prepared for, but you got to put it into action at that point. What else did we talk about, y'all? Let me see. Y'all got to go back and watch too. It's still on my YouTube channel as well. We talked about the predictor of long-term relationship success. So at the end, we kind of just gave our 2 cents of ways to have a successful relationship. And again, my 2 cents is always going to be to start on your journey of healing, self-love, self-discovery, and intentional dating while you're still single. And that journey does not end when you get in a relationship. You still have to work on your healing, because things are going to come up. And you're going to have to do your individual healing, and you're going to have to do your healing as a couple, because things are going to come up, and it's supposed to be y'all against the problem, not you against each other. The self-discovery needs to happen before the relationship so you can know who you are, know what you need, know what your boundaries are and all of that. But it doesn't stop once you get in the relationship, because you're going to always discover something new about yourself once you have a partner there reflecting back to you. So continuing to discover new things, to self-reflect, to self-examine, to work on your personal development, to grow together as a couple, to express and communicate what's coming up, what's happening, how to solve things. To all of this also supports you with conflict resolution once you're in the relationship, if you've already had a foundation of healing, self discovery, and all of these things. Self love. Start now. Start loving on yourself. Start treating yourself the way you want to be treated. Start doing the things that you want to do when you get a partner. Don't just, you know, have all these dreams. Ooh, when I get a man, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna travel, I'm gonna go out on the dates every Friday and this is that. But now you're single, you don't take yourself out, you don't get dressed up, you don't travel, you don't do anything, and you expect for your whole life to just be picked up once you have a relationship. Set the foundation right now. You want flowers in your relationship? Start buying yourself flowers, sending yourself flowers, allowing it to be delivered, or just pick you up a single flower while you're out and about. If you want your partner to pour into some of your maintenance or your needs or something like that, or prioritize that, are you taking care of your hair and your nails and your massages and all of that already? Or are you waiting for somebody to come and handle that for you? Like, start now. Start feeling yourself, having confidence and all of that, and stop waiting for somebody else to validate you. And then once you get in that relationship, the self-love doesn't stop. If you I think it's important to continue your sense of individuality when you get in these relationships, because sometimes you can center the relationship to the point where you lose yourself, you lose your identity, you lose out on nurturing your other relationships and friendships. So continue to nurture other parts of yourself. Continue to get into your hobbies. Start hobbies now. Some of y'all don't have any hobbies, but start the hobbies now and continue them. Have you something to do instead of just always revolving around and centering your relationship. And intentional dating. Yes, it starts when you're single. I suggest doing the healing work, starting the healing work and the self love and self discovery first, then getting into your intentional dating journey by learning how to vet properly, learning how to have a conversation. Because the art of conversation, I don't know what's going on. Y'all won't be talking about shit. So, learning how to converse, learning how to vet, which means being intentional about what you know you want. Thumbs up on the conversation. Get it together. Knowing what you want and recognizing the red flags and the green flags, and actively listening, and knowing what you will not tolerate, knowing how you want to feel, all of those things, and paying attention, asking the right questions, listening, and again, I repeat, paying attention, because people can tell you what they think you want to hear, and it sounds real good, but do the actions align with words? Um, Look, vetting can also include getting to know their close circle. If you got to the point where there's several layers of vetting. So the vetting can start with, however y'all meet, whether you meet in person or online, the vetting starts there. Then the vetting starts when you have a conversation before you go on a date to see, do we even need to be bothered with meeting up? Then the vetting happens when you start dating. Then once you start getting involved a little bit more, you can start vetting through, let me find out who your friends are. How do those friendships look? How do they interact with you? How do you interact with them? What do they say about you? Because I'll ask your homeboy, tell me some red flags about him, and I'm gonna see how he responds. Is he laughing? Is he able to share without you getting upset because you think that he's breaking the bro code? Because what is it that's so tight that you gotta hide? Like, let's talk about it. Let's be open. Vetting can be, let me meet your people. Who did you come from? Where did you come from? How were you raised? So vetting properly. And then the intentional dating journey does not stop when you get in the relationship. Like, continue to date each other and continue to take yourself out. Like, you ain't gotta be on a date with your man or your woman every time. Like, if you dated yourself when you were single, you could take yourself out on solo dates sometimes. Like, it don't have to be at night if you feel uncomfortable with that, but taking yourself to lunch sometimes, or brunch, or to do an activity, or to meet up with friends. Like, continue to do the things that you did. Maintain your sense of individuality, and make sure you're pouring into the relationship as well, because you have to nurture every relationship, whether it's romantic or not. Continue to nurture your relationship, continue to date, keep it spicy, keep it unpredictable. I have lots of suggestions for people who are in relationships that kind of have lost the spark on how to keep that up and keep dating each other. Tap in. So that's that. If you want to watch the full episode, if you missed it earlier, just go to my YouTube channel. It's under my live tab. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so now. It is youtube.com/@Osha Make sure you turn on the notifications as well. And I wanted to talk a little bit tonight. If you're paying attention to any platform, you will see that ASAP Rocky been going through it. So ASAP Rocky, born Rakim Mayers, was found not guilty in his highly publicized assault case. The case revolved around a 2021 altercation where former associate Terrell ASAP Relly Efron accused Rocky of firing a gun at him. Rocky denied the allegations, and throughout the trial, his legal team highlighted inconsistencies in Efron's testimony and the lack of physical evidence. I could have sworn I saw it on tape, but after nearly 4 weeks of trial, the jury deliberated for 3 hours before delivering a not guilty verdict. As we all saw, Rihanna was present in the court supporting her man, showing up in solidarity, and just as she has throughout their relationship. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit more. So of course, we don't want to see nobody going to prison if they're innocent, or if it wasn't I want to say a violent crime, but it was. That's their business. They handled it. He got off. I'm glad he's able to be with his woman and his 2 boys, and hopefully he takes the second chance and doesn't drop the ball with it. But I wanted to talk about, just that in general. We've seen people going through trial and having their woman stand by their side through it, even going to prison. Remember when Snoop Dogg was on trial? Murder was the case that they gave him. He was on trial for murder in '93. His woman, Shantae Brodus, I don't think she was married to him at that point. She did have their oldest son, but she hadn't not yet been his wife. So she was his girlfriend at the time. She was there present with him in the trial. Gucci Mane did a whole bid. He was in prison from 2014 to 2016. I thought it was a little longer than that. But Keisha Kayor stood by his side and waited for him, even ran his money up a lot of bit while he was locked up. They worked out together. I think she said she really did the bid with him. Like, she said that they would talk at certain times. They eat breakfast at the same time, work out every day at the same time. She basically did the bid with him. Then in recent news, we've seen Megan Good in court with Jonathan Majors as he was going through his court sessions for his domestic violence case. We saw that. And I'm thinking, I don't know if Megan Good and Jonathan Majors were together. I mean, they couldn't have been together before he was on trial, because he was on trial for something that happened between him and his girlfriend. So she met him while he was going through all of that and decided to stand with him. And then, of course, we've seen Rihanna, billionaire Rihanna, and ASAP Rocky. And we saw that. We've even seen men do it. Papoose, he stayed loyal with Remy Ma while she was locked up for 6 or 7, 8 years, something like that. So I wanted to talk about, like, is this ride or die versus healthy loyalty? Is ride or die toxic culture when it comes to doing bids with or being there to support your partner through court trials? So, of course, if you love somebody and they're going through a situation, you're not going to just leave their side. I get all that. But I do feel like at some point, as far as, especially at this big grown age of ours, when people are taking penitentiary chances, as my ex used to say, it's played out. Like at this point, especially when you have access to money and resources, why are you still taking penitentiary chances? Like, why are you getting locked up when you got all this money? You're not in poverty. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. Getting upset with somebody and feeling like you got to shoot them. Why? What's going on? People getting locked up for all these RICO, like the gun violence, domestic violence, gun violence, all of these things. What they say now? How is you cool? It's just too much. So my question is, do you expect your partner to do a bid with you? Like, I just don't. I feel kind of crazy, silly asking the question, because at this big age, why are we making penitentiary? Why are we taking penitentiary chances? Now, I'm not judging, because I've personally done some bids. But guess how old I was? I was a teenager and I was in my early 20s. So my ex he wasn't, I don't want to call him a gangster, but he was in the streets. He was a hustler, and he was a criminal, for lack of a better term. And I was young and silly and in love. So when I met him, he was in a halfway house, but I didn't know it. I didn't know it until a couple months into the relationship, after I already had feelings. And he caught an escape charge from the halfway house, and guess who his getaway driver was? Me. But I didn't know what I was doing. Again, I was a teenager. All I know is he said, pick me up back here at this address and I'm going to come out, not knowing that he was escaping the halfway house. He went on the run. During this time, we broke up. I'm young. I don't have to necessarily deal with all this. We broke up. But then when he got locked up, of course, all of those penitentiary promises and love letters and exchanging letters and all of that happens. So eventually we got back together, probably when there was about 11 months left of his sentence or something like that. So he was locked up for maybe like a year and a half. And we stayed in touch the whole time, but we were officially back together for probably like the last 11 months. And so, I did that. And then he got out. And I would say several months into being out, you start taking penitentiary chances again, like doing little things, hustling and all that. The statute of limitations has passed, y'all, and he has passed. So there's nothing that could come about this conversation. But long story short, ended up having to go back and forth to court again. He was on parole, ended up violating the parole. You back locked up. I do the bid again with you for 9 months. At this big age, I'm not trying to do no damn bids with nobody, because when somebody is taking penitentiary chances, they are not considering the effects that it's going to have on everybody else. It's not just you that's going to have to go do the time. You're away from your family, so you're not there to be able to support, provide, protect, be with your children, help your parents, be any contribution to society. And then the person that you're partnered with has the task of the responsibility of being able to having to put money on your books, so you not just eating prison food that you can buy some damn noodles or some wings or whatever they got in the damn prison. They got to put money on your books. They got to travel to come see you. Why would you even want to put your loved one through this, making silly ass decisions? But in the case that something happens where your loved one has to get locked up, your partner, are y'all riding? Are y'all riding? Not thumbs up. Are y'all riding and dying? Or are you like, this is where I draw the line? Because I feel like the ride or die culture can be a little toxic, because what is we doing? I remember when I first started following Supa, Wazam Supa from New Orleans. She was dating a guy that was locked up, and she was making content out of it. I think his name was Get 'em. So she would be going to see him every week and showing the pictures, prison pictures and stuff like that. And she was in love with that dude, and then he messed it up, and she became a multimillionaire. And we've seen other relationships that she's been in that have been healthier. She's engaged to be married now. But I doubt that her at this big age will probably make that same decision. I don't know. ZDog.official says another adult you didn't birth should not be another adult's responsibility. So what does that mean? Does that mean that you didn't birth your partner, so taking care of them while they locked up it's a no-go for you? I'm not trying to do it. And it doesn't make sense, y'all. Please stop taking these penitentiary chances. And then the whole thing about like the court dates, that's stressful in itself. When you have to go ride back and forth to go to court, you got to sit in there all day. You don't know what's about to happen. You almost ready for them to be sentenced, like, because it's so stressful to go through the court not knowing what's going to happen. It's just too much. I paid my dues way back when. Don't come to me. I've dated somebody in recent years, maybe like within the past 5 years, and I noticed that he was still doing little stuff, hustling on the side with little stuff. Like, baby, this ain't that. If you ain't official and legal and doing everything by the books, I can't get jiggy with you. Cause I don't even have it in me no more. So I will say that is another part of the vetting process. Like, what is this person into? Because some people have a good front where they are, they got a business. I'm not going to call out these specific types of businesses that they use a lot of times to be their front. But, and it's not just, street level hustler crimes like selling drugs or violent crimes, gun charges, domestic violence and all that. Some people do white collar crimes, scamming. There's a lot of scammers, especially out here in Atlanta and Houston and these different places. Folks be seemingly having legit careers and businesses, and they got all this stuff going on. It looks like all shiny. And then when you get behind the scenes, you realize, oh, you's a scammer. You know how to get grants and loans and credit card stuff and flip look like, you would be surprised what type of little scams people are into, and they living their lives making it seem like they got successful businesses or they just always have money. Let me see your tax return. ZDog.official says, if I murk someone, I'd want my wife to have my back and have our go bag ready for our escape. Baby, why is you doing that? I mean, of course, if it was a situation where they have to do something, like they're protecting the family and they have, hopefully, if it's a case where you got to do something like that, it's in self-defense and you're not going to have to do any time. But if you're going out of anger to go run up and do something to somebody, knowing you have a whole family and a wife, That's irresponsible. That ain't thumbs up. That's irresponsible. So I don't want to hear it. Anything that you do that you have to go to prison for, it has to be, if it's justified, then yes, I'm gonna stick by your side. If you did something in self-defense, if you did something because it was, again, life or death, if you were falsely accused of something, yeah. But if you operating out of anger, if you making poor decisions, if you doing silly stuff when we could have came up with a solution to try to get some money and all of that, I can't rock with you because you're putting me in an unsafe position. I'm good. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that because that was the trending news of the week, that ASAP Rocky got off. Rihanna, did y'all see the video when he got the not guilty uh, sentence? That man leaped over the over the bench to land in Rihanna's arms. I bet you did, because imagine you marrying a billionaire that is beautiful, that you've been wanting for years, that you have two beautiful sons with, and serving 20 something years in prison. You're gonna feel like a whole goofy. Z Dog says fraud is real, but I should just have our bags ready, because if I'm gonna escape, and I'm gonna tell folks you helped me. See, that's really the type of man you got to worry about. If they gonna try to put the crime on you, don't do it, ladies. So again, you gotta assess your relationship dynamics. Are you supporting someone who is willing to change, or someone who keeps repeating the same mistakes? Because if they made a mistake, I don't know. I don't know. Some mistakes is just like, come on now, bruh. But if somebody is constantly taking penitentiary chances, making mistakes, being a F up, constantly getting arrested, not making sure they have their due diligence, like simple things like a valid license, not drinking and driving, those type of decisions where you're putting yourself in harm's way to get locked up, get arrested, get harassed by the police, go through things that are preventable. Like, you have to really assess if you want to deal with that. Setting boundaries, of course, you can love someone without losing yourself in their struggles. Sometimes you have to love somebody from afar, and you can't save them if they don't want to save themselves. I'm just telling you. Knowing when to walk away. Staying out of obligation is not loyalty, it's self-betrayal. If you know that what they are doing is wrong and they will not stop for you, why are you sacrificing yourself, your life, the route that you can go in order to just prove your loyalty? You have to know when to walk away, when things are just not, they don't align with you. And oftentimes the thugs and the gangsters and the hustlers and the scammers and all of that are about that life, that are taking these penitentiary chances, they usually with good girls and innocent girls and girls that aren't about that life at all. And it can really change the trajectory of your life. Like, again, I was one of those, I was young and innocent. I wasn't about that life at all. Of course, I've experienced close family members getting locked up and all of that. But as far as like being involved with their crimes or being around their crimes or being about that life, like, absolutely not. But I chose to be with someone who was about that life, and ended up doing a bid by sitting there waiting for you, taking your collect calls, writing letters, being loyal to you while you're locked up, kind of just shutting down the things that I should have been doing in life around that time. I could have been going to college, could have been, dating or whatever else. And I'm not regretting anything that I did, because my life is what it is, and I've learned amazing things from the things that I've been through. But I'm just saying, like, imagine if it's your niece or your daughter or your little sister that could be in college or could be dating and could be working on their career and everything, and they decide to put their life on hold for a man that's taking penitentiary chances, that's out in the streets about that life, hustling, doing crimes. You're not going to advise them to do that. But again, you can't tell these folks nothing either. A lot of these young girls, myself included, once you feel like you're in love, can't nobody tell you nothing. Z-Dog says, apparently a lot of women are attracted to men who do nigga shit. Like, what's the root of the attraction? And he also says, like, what the F do women be thinking picking niggas? Again, a lot of times it could be the thrill of dating a bad boy. The it could be daddy issues, like feeling like you need that type of man that's, rough around the edges as a protector. It's some type of attract. It's a lot of things that attract women to niggas. Okay. Soul Lifter, my best friend TJ says, your hair is fire. Thank you. Me and mama did it. Thank you. Thank you. But yes, it's a lot of things that attract good girls or girls that don't know anything else. If you from the hood and you ain't never been exposed to no other type of man, and that's the man that's available to you, that's in your close circle, that's who you're gonna go with. And for the ones who did grow up with different types of men and just chose that, it could be self-esteem, self-worth, it could be wanting something edgy just because it seemed cute. It's lots of reasons. I think it's the musical influence, like media. Yeah, of course. It's in the songs. It's in the music. It's in the movies. Hood life, thug life, gangster life is glorified. So you don't realize what it's really about until you're in it. So that's why it's important to pour into your youth, teach your youth, let the young girls know, let the young men know. It ain't what it's all cracked up to be. You think it's cute being I did a stitch of a video on TikTok one time where this girl was saying she was a suburban girl and she's, got with a hood nigga or whatever. Like, okay, it's all fun and games until you're put in a position that can change your life forever. Like, me and my ex-husband, when we were divorced, we were starting to like build our friendship again. And I remember meeting up with him. He had asked me to do something for him, and we sat in this truck that he had somebody rent for him, and we talked about it. And I wasn't able to get it done, so he got mad. We got into an argument. I got out the truck. A week later, he was murdered in that same truck. So imagine if we were still together, or even if it was that day. Most likely, I probably would have been with him. Would have been in the passenger seat of him being murdered, and that could have been me. Or there's lots of things that end up happening where an innocent woman or innocent life is jeopardized because they want to be with this hood nigga. And it's not just limited to hood niggas. It's all kind of dudes that's making bad choices and making penitentiary chances, and it's innocent dudes that get caught up in stuff too. Z-Dog says, think about the song say, want a roughneck nigga that can say, oh, want a roughneck nigga that can say, yeah. I go. Like, that's one of the most, I'm trying to find out the song. Want a roughneck nigga that can satisfy me. Like, that's one of the most ignorant things I've ever heard. Oh, yeah. I want a freak in the morning, a freak in the evening, just for me. I want a roughneck nigga that can satisfy me, just for me. Adina Howard. It ain't that she's saying that she wants the roughneck nigga, like, to rough her up. I think she just wants a man that knows how to handle her in a dominant way. But yes, I get it. So again, support also does not mean sacrifice. Be there, but also protect your own peace. So if you choose to be there by somebody's side that's going through court dates and all of that, make sure you're protecting your peace, your energy, and your life, and figure out if that's the journey you want to go on. Because imagine if ASAP Rocky did not get off. How would life look like for Rihanna? Again, this woman has had success in music, has had success in business, has a billion-dollar brand, has 2 little boys under the age of 3. And imagine if this man was to get locked up. Everybody would be looking at her like how they look at Lauren London, with the pressure of not moving on. And she would have either had to put her life on hold and just do the bid with him until she's in her 50s, or move on and be judged and be criticized and whatever. So I don't know. So again, I'm gonna leave it at that. We're gonna continue on. It's late, y'all. I'm gonna leave you with a few journaling prompts, and then we're going to wrap it up. What does loyalty look like for you? And loyalty has come up in this show before. We talked last week or a couple of weeks ago about, do you choose loyalty or respect? It's gonna be respect for me every time. You got to find that episode where I talked about that. I'm gonna put the descriptions in the episodes. I just haven't updated them yet, so to make it easier for you to see what was talked about on each episode. So bear with me as I'm growing this series, the Osha Cerese Show. What does loyalty look like for you? Have you ever supported someone at the expense of your well-being? Excuse me. And how do you know when your support is healthy? Excuse me, it's that orange juice. How do you know when your support is healthy versus when it is hurting you? How do you know when your support is healthy versus when it is hurting you? And Z-Dog says, ASAP is a good dude. Everybody knew he would be free. I knew he would be free because of certain things I know, but that don't mean I think he was innocent. Z-Dog said these episodes are adding up. Might want to get ahead of those descriptions. I know that. We on episode 19. I already know. Thank you for that concern. I have all the descriptions in my phone, so I just got to add them. I started the other day, but it's gonna get done. It'll be done before the end of the month. So that's the time frame I'm giving myself. I got a week and a half to handle it. Really, not even that, because it's technically the 20th now, so a week and a day. But the descriptions will be up. I'll have the thumbnails on there, the hashtags, all of that to make it easier for you. And to avoid having to do all of that, just make sure you are here live when I pop up. And the way you do that is subscribe to my channel, youtube.com/@AshaCerese. Make sure you turn those notifications on so you know when I'm popping up. Again, if you would like to schedule a session with me as your coach, please visit ashacerese.com. You can book a one-on-one session, or you can sign up for coaching sessions weekly or bi-weekly. Whatever your schedule is, we'll work it out. If you want to do that, just go ahead and book a free discovery call, and we can determine how I can best support you on your needs. You can also enroll in a course if you would like support on your journey of healing, self-love, and self-discovery, and you want it to be guided and you want the coaching to be included. That's one single step at a time. It's a 6-week healing workshop. You're going to be doing inner child healing, shadow work, forgiveness, self-love, self-discovery. Who are you? What do you need? What do you want? We're going to do a plan of action for your future goals as well. Again, that comes with coaching, and it also comes with the guided journal, How to Beat Single. If you would like to just grab you a journal, if you're not ready for a course, just grab you a journal. It's on the website as well. How to Beat Single. Plenty of exercises, tools, information, and story times in there to support you on your journey. And also have a course if you want something a little bit more self-paced, a little less intense, 5 ways in 5 days. That is teaching you how to incorporate your love languages into your daily acts of self-love and self-care, as well as uncovering any blockages you may have for giving and receiving love. That can be done in as little as 5 days, or as much as 60. You have 60 days to complete it, and it does come with one free coaching session. The cost of the course is less than a coaching session, so you really are getting a deal with that course as well. And yeah, find all of this on oshacerese.com, OSHACERESE.com. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter while you're there. And if you are an intentional dater, a hopeful romantic looking for love in 2025, make sure you are a part of the Intentional Love Collective. That is a growing community and database that I am growing every day. We got some great singles on there, but it helps me to curate some special singles mixers for you, match make you, or help me give you a great experience at future speed dating events. So when you walk in, you're actually attracted to the people there. You got things in common. You have shared values. So if you would like to join the Intentional Love Collective, the link is in my bio right now. Make sure you grab that. If you have any questions, feedback, if you want to write me a letter to unpack on this show anonymously or whatever, you can always email me at oshacerese@gmail.com. OSHACERESE@gmail.com. Email me anything you want feedback on, questions, concerns, whatever you want to just drop me a little line. I am signing off for the evening, and I appreciate y'all for being here, and I'm going to retire my mouth for the rest of the night because I've been talking since 6 p.m. But thank you so much for joining and tuning in. Until next time, I'll talk to y'all later.